Get ready for something huge. In 2025, South Korea is about to launch one of the boldest experiments in the history of education, a full-scale, nationwide rollout of AI-powered digital textbooks. Now, this isn't just another tech trend or a small pilot program. We're talking about a fundamental plan to reshape how millions of students learn every single day. So, let's break down what this classroom revolution is all about.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle why a revolution like this is even on the table. Then, we'll dive into the big promise of AI personalization. After that, we'll see what this new digital classroom actually looks like, and then weigh the hype against the reality on the ground. And we'll wrap up by asking the big question, is this really where learning is headed?
So, why the need for such a massive, radical change? Well, it all boils down to a dream that education has been chasing for, well, pretty much forever. How do you make learning truly personal for every single kid?
I mean, just picture a standard classroom, right? You've got 30 students. A few are just flying ahead, totally getting it. A few are really struggling to keep up. And then you've got everyone else somewhere in the middle. How on earth can one teacher possibly give a lesson that's perfectly tailored to 30 different brains, all at the same time? It's been the central, almost impossible challenge for educators for generations.
And this leads us straight to a huge discovery in education research called the Two Sigma problem. Back in 1984, a psychologist named Benjamin Bloom proved that students with a one-on-one tutor performed 2 standard deviations better. Now, what does that actually mean in plain English? It means taking an average C student and turning them into a top-performing A student. It's a massive difference. The only catch? Giving every student a personal human tutor has always been a logistical and financial nightmare. Until maybe now.
And that is exactly where South Korea is placing its massive bet. The country is going all in, trying to solve that Two Sigma problem, not with an army of human tutors, but with artificial intelligence. The heart of the whole strategy is these AI digital textbooks, or AIDT. The goal here is simple. Scrap the old one-size-fits-all model for good. Instead, the AI is designed to analyze how each student is learning, pinpoint their exact strengths and weaknesses, and then serve up customized content and feedback. It's all about creating a unique learning roadmap for everyone.
And make no mistake about the scale here. This is not some small, cautious test. The government has already approved 76 different AI-powered textbooks that will be used in elementary, middle, and high schools. This is a full-scale, nationwide commitment.
So how does the AI keep all this personalization organized? You can think of it as a personal learning GPS for each student, and it's built on 3 key parts. You've got the PLE, or Personal Learning Environment, which is basically their custom dashboard. Then there's the PLN, their Personal Learning Network, which helps them connect and collaborate with classmates. And finally, the PLP, their Personal Learning Portfolio, which acts as a living, breathing record of their progress to keep them on track and motivated. What this all represents is a really fundamental shift in philosophy. Traditional education is teacher-led, right? The teacher is the sage on the stage at the center, delivering the same content to everyone. This new model is aiming for self-directed learning. It puts the student in the driver's seat, letting them explore their own path and take a truly active role in their own education.
Okay, so we get the why, but let's talk about the how. What's it really going to look like inside one of these new digital classrooms? How does a typical day play out for teachers and students?
Well, the teacher's role is changing, and changing dramatically. They're not just lecturers anymore. They're becoming what you might call learning architects. They use a 4-step process to build lessons. They analyze the learning goals, identify how students are going to prove they get it, design customized learning experiences, and then integrate the right technology to make it all engaging and effective.
Now, you might be thinking, does this just mean every kid is going to be isolated, staring at a screen all day? And that's a valid concern, but the AIDT model is specifically designed to prevent that. It's built on 3 principles for better collaboration. First, positive interdependence, the idea that we sink or swim together. Second, individual accountability, so there are no free riders in group projects. And third, equal participation, using the tech to make sure even the quietest students get their voice heard. Of course, there's always a big gap between a grand, shiny plan and the messy, complicated reality of an actual classroom. So now, let's get real and hear from the people on the front lines, the teachers.
So, what's really happening inside these classrooms? When you listen to the teachers and students, you hear stories about incredible potential, but also about some pretty significant hurdles.
And here's a powerful dose of that reality. This quote from a middle school teacher, Park Nare, really cuts to the chase. She points out a critical flaw in the whole plan. You can't just hand a kid a device and expect magic to happen. She says that basic digital literacy, just knowing how to search for information and tell if it's any good, has to be taught first.
And she's not alone. Teachers across the board are flagging similar issues. Distraction, of course, is a huge one. There's also the real fear that lessons can become about the cool new tech itself instead of the actual subject matter. And they're seeing this massive gap in digital skills, not just among the students, but between teachers and students too. But then, you hear a story like this one from high school teacher Park Min, and you see the other side of the coin, the incredible potential. He had his students use a collaborative platform to create the school magazine. And when it was published, the students thanked each other in the credits, but not him. And he says he was so happy about that because it was proof that the technology had empowered them to take complete ownership of their project. So as we start to pull all this together and look to the future, it becomes incredibly clear that the success of this whole revolution hinges on a lot more than just having the latest and greatest technology.
All the research points to a few non-negotiable factors for this to work. It's going to need continuous teacher training, not just a one-off workshop. It absolutely requires buy-in from everybody, teachers, students, and parents. Data privacy and security have to be rock solid, period. It also needs stable, long-term support from the government, both politically and financially. And ultimately, the real goal is to shift from thinking of these as just digital textbooks to seeing them as an open, evolving platform for learning.
South Korea's Great Experiment is giving us a fascinating, real-time glimpse into the future of education. The technology is here, and it's only getting more powerful. But it leaves us with the most important question of all. Who's truly responsible for building this classroom of the future? Is it the tech companies, the government, or is it a project that every single teacher, parent, and student has to build together? That is the challenge ahead.